Hey folks, Jeff here at Back to Country. Appreciate you stopping by the channel today. Well, if you've been following along and you're joining us on this journey, you know out here in East Texas we get a lot of rain. And we don't get it spread out to where it rains every day. No, we get a lot all at once. And then it's dry for a bit and then we get a bunch more and so on and so on. So as a result, we're constantly fighting erosion. And over the years, we've been working on that quite a bit. We've got down a process to where we basically let the rain come down, study the damage, seek to make changes, and then rinse and repeat. And that's basically our methodology to how we've been building our road. And as a result, it continues to get better. So on this video, I'm going to take you kind of through where we're at on it. We're going to do a little work and just kind of show you how we're building the road on a budget without any real skills or anything. I mean, we're not road builders. We're just doing it. So come along and join us and let me show you where we're at. So our methodology again is to let it rain and study the results. And so obviously when we put in this building with a 5,000 square foot roof, quite a bit of rain comes off of that. Now in the short term we deal with it, but the long-term mitigation is rain gutters and collection and all that, and we believe that's going to help significantly because it's going to reduce the amount of water up here on the hill significantly. But while we're dealing with that, that water tends to run down off of the hill and cause erosion. Now if you've been following along, you know that I hauled in a bunch of dirt and have been building out the road, but then I kind of came to a standstill because I want to use the motor grader to do all this. So I just kind of built it a bit high and then have just left it until I get around to that next step. So what's happening is the water's running down here and you can see all the different places it runs. And it's coming down here what used to be the side of this road, and it's kind of cutting a ditch you can see going all the way down. So that's obviously got to be fixed. I'm not really worried about it because the road there on the outside is higher than this middle, so you can see where the water is coming down and it's literally running across this section of road and then just coming down the middle, and it has created a nice ditch here where the water runs into. Again, that's not a big deal because once I run the grader over this, we'll build a crown and we'll change this dynamic completely. So the damage is not significant enough that it's impacting anything at this point, so we just kind of let it go until we get around to the point that I'm ready to work on this section of road and fix that up. In the meantime, you know, we've got some rock down on here and it does kind of hold it together, and our driving section is sufficient. It's not great, but it's sufficient. It's stable and you know, we can drive up and down it no problem. So it's not something that we're putting a lot of energy or worry into. But you can see, I mean, this is pretty significant erosion that it's cutting through here. So I am going to have to deal with it at some point. And maybe I'll have to even haul some more dirt to put that back together. But not worried about it. It won't be enough dirt that, you know, 1 or 2 loads at the most. But then you can see here it comes down to the bottom and then it's crossing over the road. So that just is what it is. It's, again, it's a short-term problem. It'll correct itself once we fix this road up and get it to the way I want it. So it's just hasn't been a priority. But that water and the water from the hill here and down comes down the side of that road. It runs through here. You can see again where it's just natural erosion taking that out. And then we get down into this section and you know, I've been working on these ditches for years trying to get them the way I want. So here's an example of where I've still left it fairly natural with just a little bit of work on it. And then it kind of goes into the start of the actual ditch that'll be more permanent. So the goal, of course, is that the water will run down here on the side of the road. And if we come over to the other side, same thing. We've got a ditch built there, and we're letting that water naturally run along there, and it kind of erodes it out as well. And so it just naturally builds the ditch. It gets the water flowing where we want it. And then once the water is controlled and flowing the way that we want it, then we come in and do the work. This first section of road here we put in, I don't even know how many years ago now. It's held up very well, and this was kind of our first test to see if we could build a good base and create a model that was both cheap, efficient, not too difficult, but held up to the crazy rains and erosion. And you know, so far it's working. And like I say, it's been here for years now. And what we did is we cut this road out pretty wide. We left a ditch on the very edge, and the reason I did that is I wanted the ditch far enough away from the road to where it could erode out, and it didn't matter, it wasn't going to impact my road. And that's basically what's happened. I mean, we've got a good ditch here that's deep. It's down to the hard clay, and it carries a lot of water without any problem, and it has zero impact on the road itself. Here we've got another ditch forming that comes across the road, and this is basically one of those natural areas that I've allowed to let the rain come down and build the ditch basically wherever it wanted to. It built this ditch through erosion, and so now we've got full control of the rainwater that comes from the other side of the road and runs down here. And so the solution is that eventually I'm going to have to put a culvert in here and then cover that up, and we'll have solid road again. Right now we have a little ditch that we have to cross. It's not significant, not that deep, not a problem to cross it. But it's temporary because this is kind of the learning phase. This is where we're studying the water flows, controlling the erosion, getting it to move where we want it to move so that we can then build the road where we want it, and the road will hold together because we're controlling the water flow around that road. So the plan here is that I will take this area out here and I'll dig a big hole right in here. And so the water will come down this ditch down the side and stack up in a bigger hole right here. And then this will be kind of cleaned out with a culvert that'll run underground across here and down into that ditch there, and then it'll go ahead and flow out into the main ditch and run on down the hill. And then of course we'll cover this back up with dirt, we'll fill it in with this good crushed concrete, and it'll be a solid part of road that will be smoother with a hard base that we can then do something else with in the future. Now we look at this as our first step. And I say that because it's not really what I would consider a finished product. I mean, we thought it was smooth when we first put it in, and then we put down the rock, and maybe we didn't get it tight enough in some areas and it washed out dirt, or the ground was soft and it sunk when we drove over it. And so it's not a finished product as in a smooth base. I mean, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but like right in this area here, there's a dip that goes down, a little hole that's formed there. I mean, so if you wanted to come racing up this road in your vehicle, it's going to be a little bit bumpy. But just driving up at slow speeds, it's no big deal. So the plan is that this was going to be basically our base, to create a solid base that we could then build on top of. So once we get the whole road done like this, where we've got a solid base down, then the next thing will be to come in and put in the next layer. And that'll be you know, smaller rock. This is all big stuff that we've crushed into place, and we'll show you how we do that. But we're going to fill that in, put another layer, smooth it with the motor grader, and that'll create the next layer of road, which you could call that then the base. And then hopefully on top of that, we'll come along later on and maybe put down some recycled crushed or milled asphalt or something like that, and then recompact it and see if we can actually build this into a nice road in the long run. But you know, all of this adds up in price, so we're doing it on a budget. We're doing it a little bit at a time. We're using 100% recycled materials, or materials that we collect right here on the property, and doing it step by step. So next step we're going to do is we're going to put in a culvert. So come on with me and let's do that. So this side's flowing pretty good. Definitely going to need to do some concrete on the end piece. No big deal, we'll get that. But overall our flow is pretty good on this end. Need to dig this trench a bit deeper. It's backing up in here. Looks like a high spot right through here. And then you can see it backs up towards the culvert. And the problem is we got a bunch of silt that has washed in. And so the culvert looks like it's half full of silt. So I'm gonna have to dig that out. But I think it's being caused because it's backed up in here. And I think it's washing down from that side as well. So that's going to take some work, and of course them rocks and stuff ain't holding up that well either, so I have to concrete all that. We've had this culvert in now for, gosh, I don't know, I'm going to say a couple months. And we've been through an over 8-inch downpour from the hurricane, and we've learned a lot of lessons. One lesson that we've learned is that we've got to do something about the ends. This end obviously has washed out a bit. It's not a big deal. I mean, there's still plenty of road to drive on, but whether we stack more rock in here and just use bigger rock or concrete or whatever, I mean, this is the intake end, so we really only need to stop erosion coming down from the road, not you know, from the intake. But we'll put some rock down in here and kind of clean this up, and I'll probably do this whole end with rock because that's number one, the cheapest solution, and I can do it with materials that I've got right here on the property, and we'll see how that holds up. But overall, since we have gone back and done our tweaks, the culvert's working out pretty good. I mean, we still got to do a lot of work on just cleaning up the road, but we do that section by section as we get ready to put down rock. On this side, it didn't hold up maybe quite as well. I mean, here we've got some rock that kind of didn't hold up. Now I could dig that back and put more rock in there, or I may put concrete. I really haven't decided yet because, again, it's not really on the driving portion, so just putting in rock to prevent this from eroding out should be suitable. Once we dug this ditch out to a level so that it was all flowing steadily and not backing up, originally, as you saw from the video, we started where we had a high point down in here, and that high point created an eddy to where the water slowed down there, or well, it backed up a little there, creating an eddy back in here, and that caused the water to slow down and the silt to build up, and it literally, of course, filled the culvert up halfway on this end before it leveled off. So we had to come in with the excavator and dig this out deeper, and we did that. And once we did that, all the silt, of course, naturally leveled out the bottom and created just a nice flow. So water flows through here now beautifully, and of course you can see that the culvert is several inches higher than the base of the drainage ditch. That's good. I did throw down some rock there just to kind of slow down the water flow a bit, and I'll put some more rock on that just to protect, I guess, from the erosion. You can see where the water comes out there. Super high flow when it's really raining, and it's like cutting into the wall of that ditch where the ditch turns. So I'll probably put a rock in there as well just to stop the erosion, I guess, so that we don't end up with like this wall collapsing or anything like that. Water from this side comes down the ditch and just runs over the side of the wall there. Same thing, I think we get some backflow from this side and it runs into the ditch, no big deal, and then it all flows out and down the hill. So it's worked out really well. You may wonder why I put the culvert so deep, and basically when I was talking to my culvert guy, I was asking him about loads, you know, how much load can these culverts handle? Because when I'm driving heavy equipment in here, or, you know, bringing in concrete trucks or whatever, I don't want to have to worry about my culverts collapsing. And basically what I learned is that if the culvert is buried at least 12 inches deep, then the weight of anything driving over it is sufficiently spread out and these culverts basically will hold up to anything. So obviously I got a little bit carried away and went more than 12 inches. I mean, I'm probably more like 24 inches there, but that's okay. I don't mind a bit. I just wanted the road to be solid and not ever have to worry about that culvert collapsing. And now that we've got a good flow rate through it and it holds up just fine, I'm real happy with the culvert. So that's kind of where we're at on that. I mean, obviously I still need to do some work on the road. You can see a little bit of ditch forming there where the water kind of flows across on top. That's no big deal, because as I do each section of road with rock and everything, we come in, put down dirt if we need to, smooth everything out best we can, and then put down a layer of heavy rock on top of it, and that pretty much solidifies the base as you saw down below. As always, folks, I appreciate you joining us on another video and sticking with us this long. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff, and help us out by supporting our channel. We're not asking for any money or anything like that. Just appreciate your support by watching our videos and subscribing to the channel, which is absolutely free. It's just a click of a button. Anyway, this was part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 when we get into the next section of laying down the next section of rock and just kind of showing you our process. As always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.